It was a chilly autumn afternoon in London. The leaves had turned shades of gold and orange, crunching softly under the footsteps of people hurrying home. But for Daniel, a 22-year-old university student, the world felt heavier than ever. His grades were slipping, his part-time job barely covered rent, and his parents kept asking what he wanted to do with his future. Daniel didn't know. And the more he thought about it, the more lost he felt. That day, after another stressful lecture, Daniel skipped the bus and wandered aimlessly into a nearby park. He sat down on an old wooden bench beneath a giant oak tree. His head fell into his hands. "Why can't I figure anything out?" he muttered. After a while, he noticed an old man sitting on the other end of the bench. White hair, kind eyes, a newspaper folded neatly in his lap. The man had been watching the pigeons scatter at his feet. "Rough day?" the old man asked gently. Daniel sighed. "Rough life, actually." The old man chuckled softly. "I remember feeling the same at your age." Something in his voice made Daniel lift his head. "Really? What did you do?" The old man leaned back, gazing at the falling leaves. "I used to sit right here on this bench when I felt lost. I was younger than you, full of questions, no answers. But one day, I made a deal with myself. I decided to stop worrying about the big picture for a while. Instead, I asked myself, what small thing can I do today that makes tomorrow a little better?" Daniel frowned. "That simple?" The man nodded. "Simple doesn't mean easy. But it works. Back then, I didn't know what career to choose. So I decided the small thing I could do was learn one new skill every week. Just one. Over time, those small steps built my career." Daniel was silent, letting the words sink in. The old man continued, "People waste their lives waiting for clarity. But clarity comes from action, not from sitting still. This bench taught me that." They sat quietly for a while, watching children play in the distance. Daniel felt lighter, as though some invisible weight had been lifted. He didn't have to figure out his entire future today. He just needed to take one step. Finally, Daniel asked, "So, what small thing should I do today?" The old man smiled. "That's for you to decide. But if I were you, I'd start with writing down 3 things you're curious about. Curiosity is a compass. Follow it, and the path will show itself." When Daniel turned to thank him, he realized the old man had already stood up and was slowly walking away, his cane tapping rhythmically on the ground. Daniel looked at the empty space on the bench, then at the notebook in his backpack. He pulled it out, opened a blank page, and wrote 3 words: writing, psychology, travel. For the first time in months, he didn't feel lost. He felt hopeful. That night, Daniel researched online courses about writing. He signed up for one. The next day, he picked a psychology podcast and listened while walking to class. A week later, he joined a student travel group at his university. Each small action, each little step, brought clarity. And every time he passed through the park, he stopped at that bench, smiling at the memory of the old man's words. Years later, Daniel would tell his own students the same thing: clarity comes from action. Don't wait. Start small, today.